When Rangers hired Steven Gerrard in 2018, the Glasgow club had only been back in the Scottish top flight for 2 seasons, and had just finished their latest campaign in 3rd place, behind Aberdeen and 12 points off champion Celtic. Having suffered the humiliation of liquidation and demotion to the 4th tier 6 years earlier, fans of Rangers could only watch as their old firm rivals won title after title, getting ever nearer to the fabled 10 in a row. A feat that both clubs had narrowly missed out on in decades past. 3 years later, and he has succeeded in stopping Celtic at the final hurdle, and in the process has made people sit up and take notice of the Gers once again, with his side even progressing further in European competition than their arch enemies in recent years. But how has the former Liverpool captain revived the Scottish giants so emphatically in such little time? Let's find out. When Steven Gerrard took the Rangers job, there were concerns that the task of bringing glory back to Ibrox was too big for a manager with just over a year's worth of coaching experience. But as a legend of the game, a natural leader, and a man who had spent years carrying the hopes and dreams of an entire city on his back, he was seen as a good fit for a club which, like Liverpool, sees anything but winning as a failure. And the former Reds captain quickly set about stamping his image on the historic club. In his first summer, he let go 5 of the top 11 appearance makers from the previous season, with another 3 following in the next 2 years. By the start of the current campaign, there were only 4 members of the entire 2017-18 squad still at Ibrox: James Tavernier, Alfredo Morelos, Ryan Jack and Jamie Barjonas, who has made just 9 appearances under Gerrard. That same summer, 14 new players were brought in, of which 9 were permanent signings, with Gerrard notably bringing Ryan Kent with him from Liverpool. More experienced heads like Scott Arfield and Alan McGregor also made the trip to Glasgow, with Jermaine Defoe and Stephen Davis following in January. These signings would come to form the backbone of Gerrard's projects at Ibrox, with Kent, McGregor and Davis, as well as Connor Goldson and Borna Barisic, who were also signed in the summer of 2018, ranking among the club's top 6 appearance makers this term. And the man famous for producing on big European nights at Anfield instantly gave Rangers fans a glimpse of what he was capable of, getting a side which had been given just weeks to gel through 4 rounds of qualifiers and into the Europa League. It was the first time the club had made the group stage of a European competition since 2010, and was a far cry from the previous summer, when they'd gone out to Luxembourg's Progress Niederkorn in the first qualifying round, after which their manager at the time, Pedro Caixinha, was pictured arguing with fans while standing in a bush. Not only did this give Gerrard's side a psychological boost, as well as instill belief in supporters during his first months in charge, but it also brought much needed revenue into Ibrox, with the club receiving upwards of £10 million as a result, helping justify the spending spree which had come to a similar total that summer, and soften the blow of the club's £14.3 million losses, more than the rest of the Scottish Premiership combined from the previous season. That December, Gerrard made another big statement by beating Celtic in the league, something the Gers hadn't done since 2012, and a year later went one better by winning the Old Firm derby at Celtic Park, marking the first time the club had done that in the league in over 9 years. Again, this signalled a turning point for a side which, in the weeks before Gerrard's appointment, had been humiliated by their arch rivals, losing 4-0 in the Cup and 5-0 in the league over the course of 14 days. The 2019-20 campaign also saw him guide the team to the Europa League last 16, beating Porto, Feyenoord and Braga on the way, again scoring the club vital revenue to play with in the transfer market. That season also saw the Teddy Bears hire Ross Wilson as director of football, a man who had helped transform the fortunes of Falkirk during the 2000s, and while working for Southampton, had been instrumental in bringing Virgil van Dijk, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Ralph Hasenhüttl to the south coast of England. Wilson immediately started clearing the deadwood, with 11 players coming off the Ibrox wage bill in the summer of 2020, as well as growing the club's scouting team, expanding their operations in Europe and South America, and making analytics a more central part of their recruitment process. This has seen the club's transfer strategy become even more effective at aiding Gerrard's system, and Wilson has already signed 9 players for the club, including Yanis Hadji, Kemar Roof and Leon Balogun, all of whom have made a significant contribution to the side's fortunes this season. Gerrard's squad now boasts 14 fully fledged internationals, the highest number at the club in almost a decade. But improving a club's recruitment strategy only works if there is a clear on-field vision from the manager, and Gerrard has provided that from day one. While he himself has admitted to stealing ideas from a number of coaches he worked under as a player, the philosophy his side reflects most closely is that of Jurgen Klopp. This was no doubt influenced by his time managing Liverpool's under-18s, and many have asserted that this is a sign of the Anfield legend already having one eye on the Liverpool job. But aside from any personal ambitions Gerrard may hold, his Melwood-tinged methods have made this Rangers side one of the most entertaining and toughest to beat in all of Europe. Like Klopp's Liverpool, Gerrard's Rangers line up predominantly in a 4-3-3 and are a high-pressing outfit, as showcased in their 2-0 victory over Celtic back in May 2019, when they allowed Neil Lennon's team just 9.3 passes per defensive action and were granted 16.3 passes per defensive action themselves. While Gerrard lost out on that season's title by 9 points, there were already signs that his methods were working, with his side scoring 82 goals in the league, more than any other club, and conceding just 27 times, 23 fewer than in the previous campaign. Like the Reds, the Teddy Bears also garner significant creative output from their fullbacks. This season, James Tavernier and Borna Barisic are 2 of 3 players in the squad to average over 2 key passes a game, with the pair notching up a combined 14 league assists so far. Their delivery from set pieces has also been crucial. This season and last, 22% of the side's goals have come from dead ball situations. The midfield also acts as a defensive aid to the fullbacks when they bomb forward, prepared for opposition counter-attacks if possession is lost. Stephen Davis is the most active, leading the squad for tackles and interceptions with 3.8 per 90. Not a huge number without context, but it's impressive in a team which retains 63% possession, more than any side in Europe's top 5 leagues, not to mention the fact he's now 36. And as you'd expect in such a system, the attacking players also defend from the front. Joe Aribo marries 2.2 dribbles and 2.3 shots per 90 with 3.3 tackles and interceptions, winning 76% of his challenges. Yanis Hadji, who is averaging a goal or an assist every 113 minutes, is also winning possession nearly 2 times a match. Kemar Roof, meanwhile, can perform a role similar to that of Roberto Firmino, dropping to provide space for wingers Hadji and Kent to break into the box, although he's also pretty useful in the area too, with 2.6 of his 2.9 shots per 90 coming from within 18 yards. Roof's versatility means he's also been able to fill in as a right inside forward, the position from which he has scored most of his goals, meaning the excellent Alfredo Morelos has also had a lot of time in the centre forward position. This has made the Rangers' attack more fluid and able to break through a variety of defensive setups. As a result, after 41 games in the Premiership and Europa League this term, Gerrard's side had dropped points in just 6 of them, remained unbeaten, sustained an astounding 84% win rate, averaged 2.4 goals a game in the league, and conceded just 0.3 goals a game on average. For context, Man City's Centurions scored 2.8 goals a match, while the Chelsea side, which conceded a record 15 goals in 2004-05, did so at a rate of 0.4 a game. What's more, if they stay unbeaten in the league, they will become only the second Scottish side to do so since the 1800s. But that's not to say Gerrard's reign at Ibrox has been a simple upward trajectory. The manager recently told Sky Sports, "It's not until you're in the seat that you feel the heat." And even for a man so used to dealing with high pressure from his playing days, managing such a big club was always going to present a steep learning curve. One of his first big challenges was Alfredo Morelos, who was sent off 5 times in the manager's first season. But after being publicly criticised by Gerrard in 2019, the Colombian hasn't been shown red since, and has also spoken of the beautiful relationship he enjoys with the coach, who has managed to get the very best out of a player seen by many as unmanageable. Gerrard has also talked about how he's had to control his own emotions as a manager in a way he didn't have to as a player. At Liverpool, he wore his heart on his sleeve and was loved for it, and he showcased similar passion during his first 18 months at Rangers. But he also drew criticism for this in his new role. Following their win at Celtic Park in December 2019, Gerrard was accused of celebrating the victory as if he'd won a trophy, despite his side having lost to Celtic in the League Cup final just weeks earlier and still being 2 points behind their rivals. This criticism was then partly justified by what happened next. Rangers lost 2 of their next 6 games, dropping more points than they had in their previous 20, ending the curtailed campaign 13 points off Celtic and dumped out of the Scottish Cup by Hearts in the quarter-finals. While Neil Lennon reacted to the Old Firm defeat by giving his side a tactical makeover, Gerrard had few answers to his side's dramatic drop-off in form. But following a lengthy break and a busy summer, the Rangers boss ironed out the deficiencies in his side. With a deeper squad, he's been able to switch things up more easily in games which aren't going his way, and having kept hold of coveted players like Kent and Morelos, his side has been able to evolve seamlessly alongside him. Following Rangers' comfortable 2-0 victory at Celtic Park in October 2020, Gerrard was markedly more relaxed, leading his side off the field as if it were any other routine win. It was a sign of a manager with his eyes firmly on the ultimate prize, and one who fully understood how much work there was left to do. Now he has his reward. So that was our take on how Steven Gerrard transformed Rangers and ended Celtic's dominance, but what did you make of it, and do you have any suggestions for videos like this we can do in the future? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, please leave it a like and give it a share, and as always, don't forget to subscribe to Euro Football Daily if you haven't done so already. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.